I stood in the funeral hall, dressed in black, my heart heavy with sadness. My father-in-law Dalton had passed away, and people came to say their goodbyes. But my husband Dean didn't care. He leaned back in his chair, scrolling through his phone, yawning like he was bored. I walked up to him. "Dean, this is your father's funeral," I whispered. He smirked. "So what? It's not a big deal." My stomach twisted. The man I married had no heart. At that moment, I realized I had made a terrible mistake. As the ceremony ended, Dean pulled out a paper and handed it to me. "Sign this," he said. I unfolded it. "Divorce papers." My hands shook. "What is this?" I asked. He laughed. "I only married you because Dad liked you. Now that he's gone, I don't need you." His words felt like a knife in my chest. I had given him my love, my trust. But to him, I was just a way to get closer to his father's business. My anger burned deep. He thought he was winning. He had no idea what was coming. Dean leaned in, still smirking. "Oh, and the company? It's mine now?" He thought I would cry and beg. Instead, I stood tall. "Fine," I said, taking the papers. "But this isn't over." He laughed, walking away like he had won. He had no clue I was about to destroy him. That night, as I packed my bags, I stared at the divorce papers. I had two choices: walk away or fight back. I knew what I had to do. Dean had made a huge mistake messing with me. The next morning, I called an urgent meeting at Cooper Manufacturing, the company Dalton left behind. The board members looked at me, confused. "As of today," I said, "we are cutting all business ties with Lewis Precision Engineering." Gasps filled the room. Dean's company depended on us. Without our contracts, his company would struggle. My secretary sent the official letter that same day. Dean had no idea what was coming. That afternoon, Dean got the letter. Within hours, he was calling my phone. I ignored him. He stormed into my office, his face red with anger. "You can't do this," he shouted. "Oh, but I already have," I said calmly. He thought he could control me. Now, he was losing control. His company relied on our contracts, but he had treated me like nothing. Now, he was the one begging. Within weeks, Dean's company started falling apart. Without our partnership, his clients lost trust in him. Investors pulled out. Suppliers raised prices. His company's name was all over the news, for the wrong reasons. He tried to act strong, but the world could see he was failing. Meanwhile, Cooper Manufacturing grew bigger. New clients, better deals, more success. Dean once told me my company was just a small-town factory. Now, his company was the one struggling to survive. 2 months later, my phone rang. Dean. I almost laughed. The man who threw divorce papers at me was now calling for help. I picked up. "Brenda, please," he begged. "We need to talk." I agreed, but only at my company, on my terms. When he arrived, he looked nothing like before. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his face pale. He sat across from me. "Let's work together again," he pleaded. I had never seen him so weak. I stared at Dean, my face calm. "No," I said. His eyes widened. "Please," he begged. "I'll do anything." I leaned forward. "You humiliated me for years. You called my company worthless. And now you want help?" His silence told me he knew the answer. I stood up. "This is what happens when you betray people, Dean. Now, you live with it." 3 months later, Lewis Precision Engineering shut down. The company had lost its biggest contracts, and Dean couldn't pay his employees. One by one, his staff quit, leaving the company empty. The banks refused to give him more loans, and his debts piled up. The mighty CEO who once looked down on me had lost everything. Meanwhile, Cooper Manufacturing was growing faster than ever. I didn't look back until one day I saw his name in the news. Dean Lewis, from CEO to supermarket worker. The man who mocked small businesses was now working in one. While Dean's life crumbled, mine became better than ever. I met someone new, kind, supportive, and completely different from Dean. He never tried to control me or take away my dreams. Instead, he believed in me. After a year of dating, we got married. The wedding was small but filled with love. There were no lies, no betrayals, just happiness. For the first time in years, I felt truly safe. Dean was just a past chapter in my story. And now, I was ready to start a new one. Life was peaceful, and then one day I got unexpected news. I was pregnant. My heart raced. Would I be a good mother? Would I find balance between work and home? But then I reminded myself, I had already survived so much. If I could build a business from the ground up and overcome betrayal, I could handle motherhood. My husband hugged me, smiling. "We'll do this together," he promised. For the first time in my life, I knew I wasn't alone. 5 years later, I stood in my office looking at the city skyline. I had been through heartbreak, betrayal, and loss, but I had won. Not just in business, but in life. Cooper Manufacturing was stronger than ever. We had expanded into new markets, creating jobs and opportunities for thousands of people. I thought of Dalton, the man who had believed in me when no one else did. I closed my eyes and whispered, "I did it, Dalton." Somewhere I knew he was proud. One afternoon while shopping, I saw Dean. He looked thin, tired, and completely defeated. His once perfect suit was replaced by a cheap uniform. His eyes, once full of arrogance, were now hollow. He didn't see me, but I watched as he stacked boxes on the shelves. This was the man who had once laughed at me, who had treated me like nothing, but now he was just another struggling worker. I could have gloated, but I didn't need to. Life had already punished him enough. I walked out of the store, feeling lighter than ever. I had no anger left for Dean, only indifference. He was no longer a part of my life, no longer a shadow in my mind. I had moved on. My real life was waiting for me, my loving husband, my growing company, and soon my child. I had spent years fighting battles, proving myself, and now I was finally free. A year later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Holding her in my arms, I felt a new kind of love, pure, unconditional, and unbreakable. I knew that no matter what, I would protect her. I would teach her strength, kindness, and self-respect. She would never have to fight the battles I had fought. She would grow up knowing her worth. As I looked into her tiny face, I smiled. This was my true success. Standing at the new headquarters of Cooper Manufacturing, I gave a speech. "Adversity makes us stronger," I said. "Every challenge we face is an opportunity to rise. We will continue to grow, to lead, and to inspire." The audience clapped, and as I stepped off the stage, my husband took my hand. I had built something bigger than revenge. I had built a future. And as I looked at my daughter, I knew. This was only the beginning.